We had the opportunity to create several barrels with Beam Suntory. There was one in 2015, one in 2016, and one in 2019 that we're currently involved with right now, and that was Knob Creek. We also did a Maker's Mark, and we also did a Knob Creek Rye. So the first Knob Creek barrel that we did, we didn't know what to expect. There was 3 of us that went down to Kentucky. I knew there was going to be an odd man out on the selection process. That person happened to be me. At the end of the day, it was just an awesome selection, and I'm glad I went with their decision. It was a combination of woods and spice, along with a little hint of vanilla. The next one was the Knob Creek Rye. We were going after something more complex and diverse. Allowing us to implement these special barrel programs gave us the opportunity to not only showcase something special, but allowed us to continue to showcase these barrels, and we became that place where everybody wanted to come to experience.
This is the first barrel we ever picked right here. So this is the one that got started, the Knob Creek bourbon. This is the second one. We went right into it after with another bourbon. Then we went down to Loretto, Kentucky, and worked with Scott Mooney and all of those good people down there and created this Maker's Mark Barrel Select bourbon. Super proud of it. Maker's Mark is known to be a bourbon that lends itself to more sweetness because of the mash bill. And so when I started working with Scott on the wood choices for the secondary finish, I wanted something to balance that out and bring some dryness to it and add some complexity. And we definitely accomplished it. This is the rye whiskey. As Tom was saying earlier, we were looking for something more complex and something that we could look at for its diversity. Because at Brick and Brew, we really focus on craft cocktails, and a lot of those craft cocktails are the whiskey classics. And of course, being a bartender, we don't really rely on bourbons for those, we rely on ryes. This rye whiskey is phenomenal. It's this perfect harmonious balance of this wood spice, this dried fruits that come forth, and as he was saying, it's propped up by these little nuances of menthol. You can sip on this thing or you can turn it into a phenomenal cocktail.
We've gone through 15 total, and 5 of which are from the Knob Creek barrel selection, including 4 bourbon and 1 rye. 3 selections in Kentucky and 2 at Barrel Summits here in Philadelphia. What's different about the Knob Creek program, both with the rye and the bourbon, in the Barrel Summit aspect, is that you're actually getting a chance to sit down, taste through 3 different whiskeys with a dedicated ambassador of the program, and they're going to give you a lot of information about that. You're going to know where in the rickhouse it was. You're going to know exactly the age it was. So you're going to know the purest expression of the whiskey prior to bottling. And then when they bottle it, it's really not cut that far. You're talking about still some pretty high proof whiskey. So you know what you're buying, and pick the one that's right for what we're looking for at the moment. We get a chance to buy 150 bottles of a very consistent product that I can offer a cocktail for the course of 6 months or longer, that I know every single one is going to be the same, and more importantly, I don't have to design the cocktail around a whiskey. I'm buying the whiskey for a cocktail in mind. We do a few different options, one of which is a barrel-aged cocktail, which we use both the Knob Creek Rye and the Knob Creek Bourbon in at the moment. We also offer a happy hour special to really drive home why we think this barrel's particularly tasty. And then we have it on the menu and in a flight, because we've gotten a chance to select so many barrels, that we can offer a Knob Creek flight selected by Teresa's.
So it was our first time at the Barrel Summit last year, so the experience was amazing. We got to try a lot of awesome single barrel bourbons. Everyone who runs the program did a really great job walking us through and helping us select a perfect bourbon that would go well with the cocktail here at Charlie Woods Center. We did an old-fashioned style cocktail that showcased the bourbon. We were able to put some cool things around it that really brought out the depth of flavor in the single barrel. Turned out to be a wonderful cocktail. One of our best sellers now. The whole process from beginning to end was very easy. We were able to purchase our bottles as we needed them. So this was our first single barrel experience. One of my concerns was the amount of bottles that we were going to get. Didn't know how it was going to be received by guests. Wasn't sure if we were going to be able to sell through them all. That was not a problem. We ended up selling out within 5 months, which was great. We're now very much looking forward to this year picking out a Maker's Mark barrel that's going to give us a little bit higher of a yield, a little bit more bottles that we can kind of run the program a little bit longer. So anybody that's thinking about that being one of the concerns, you should put your mind at ease. People love the idea of doing a single barrel and getting something that they can't get anywhere else.
First we started in Knob Creek. We went down to Kentucky, decided to, get a big barrel here. Initially, it can be a bit, challenging. What are you going to do with it, and so on. But once we got comfortable with the concept of getting, 100 and so many bottles, in what to do with those bottles, the value that he brings, to the program, I felt was a no-brainer. The second one that we did, which is Maker's Mark, which, by the way, is a fantastic experience. Got to select the barrel, toured the Maker's Mark. It's a whole experience that definitely they go above and beyond just kind of explaining how they do it and what they do. Then selecting is putting the staves in it and being able to really give a personality to the whiskey that is identified to what you like and what kind of cocktails you want to put it in. Once we were done with aging the whiskey, the Knob Creek sent us the barrel as well as Maker's Mark. So we send it out, the first one to Free Will, which is a local brewery, and we made a beer, which is Iron Abbey Imperial Stout, where we take the barrel, able to put an Imperial Stout in it, add some extra ingredients to it. In this case, we did coconut, as well as like cocoa nibs. The second barrel that we did, we took the barrel to Stable 12, and we did a Imperial Stout again. We added a few different ingredients to it. This one, we decided to go with cocoa nibs, but also add some vanilla and some local coffee to it. We just bottled it. We're actually doing the release today, which is, we decided to name it Fear Me Lords. Also in a dinner where we're featuring side-by-side Iron Abbey number 5, we decided to name it number 5, as well as the beer. So we'll have both just being released. They're not only tasting a whiskey that we selected for them, they can also enjoy the cocktails and also know how serious we are about it. It just gives a whole different dimension as well as value to the end consumer. That look, these guys are ready. They are going out to Kentucky, Louisville. They're picking up the barrel. They're doing something special with it. They're featuring it, and it just gives legitimacy to the program.